Juanita, you mentioned that you don't want to have these kinds of thoughts and feelings when your daughter comes to you about her potential romantic relationships in the future. So would it be fair to say that that might be one of the goals that we have in working together?
Yes, please. Very much I would like to do that.
Okay, okay, and you're on board with that as one of our goals?
Yes, please. That's an important goal to me.
That's an important goal to you. Okay. So what I'd like to do is turn this problem into a goal, and throughout our sessions, however many that is, we'll work towards that together.
Lovely.
Okay. Do you have any other goals that you'd like to work towards?
Yes, only as in what lays underneath of.
Okay.
Because I'm aware that in having panic that she's having coffee with a potential romance. I don't wish to panic as a mom. I really want to be able to be present and to be able to support her as she, lives out her life. But I'm aware that underneath of it is my own hurt at being thrown away in the divorce. And see, I would also want to be able to envision a life where maybe I would go for coffee with someone. And I think that's a big goal. So I'm not looking at that in particular with this exercise, but that is something that's underneath of it. I see my panic with her as in, oh, and if that's for her, I know I'm going to have it for me. And I want to be more say yes to life and embracing life than just be shaped by the pain. Right?
Okay, those are great goals, Juanita, and we can absolutely work towards those together during our time together. Okay, and in our session today, we will kind of come back to this idea about goals, and we're going to kind of break down what you've just told me to come up with some tangible, concrete steps so we can move in that direction. Okay, how does that sound to you?
Marvelous.
Okay, perfect. So, Juanita, I'd like to know a little bit more about this experience that you had, with your daughter and the response that you had. You mentioned that you had experienced these kinds of feelings at least one time before. And so just to kind of give me a sort of picture of what the history of these feelings look like.
I'm aware it's well, first of all, it's a divorce. And so new romance is a scary concept. It's also in my relationship with my husband, and I now understand better why. New relationships were, if I opened new relationships, they were very threatening to him. And there was a negotiation for me to have new relationships. So there's a training, because we were married 39 years, and that gradually occurred over time. There's a training that comes with that I'm aware that I would be butting up against. And then underneath of that, I had a very difficult mother, a very, very unwell mom. And she had a real hate relationship for me because of her unwellness. I was the only daughter and targeted for being female. And when I began doing beginning new relationships as a 9, 10, 11-year-old young person, she targeted a lot of her abuse and emotional, psychological assaults. New relationships. So I'm aware that new relationships were already a territory that I've done a lot of therapy work on. And I feel like the divorce kind of just heightened. It was a physiological response when my daughter talked about coffee. It was like unconscious. I didn't get a chance to have a thought yet. It was so fast, the physical response. And so I feel like it's all of that combined feeding into no. When really I want to go, oh, tell me more. Have a much softer, more healed response.
You mentioned physiological response. And I know you've spoken quite a bit about the freezing and the fact that you felt wordless. And I just want to kind of reinforce with you that that's a completely normal response to have when you're experiencing extreme stress or, terror or something of that nature. And it's really our body's way of protecting us. And when we experience this kind of stress, our brain releases this flood of hormones. And those hormones are a really great thing because they help us to run away if we have to. And they do lots of great things. And so sometimes, we experience those sort of results at times when our life is not really in danger, but we're really worried or stressed about something.
Yeah.
So that makes complete sense that you would have kind of responded that way.
Okay, lovely. I'm so glad to hear it. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do label myself a loser. Oh, really? You panicked? And I have a judgment about that, which I think is unkind, because when I soften back into, okay, but why did I have that? Well, of course it's a divorce, and then I'm going to have compassion, and then it's mom, so I'm going to have compassion. But still a stink of, oh, loser.
Oh.
So you talking about how the brain responds and the hormone that get flood that happens, right? That makes me feel better about, because I didn't have any control. She said coffee romance, and I had the reaction. It was automatic.
Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely right. It is automatic. When these things happen and hormones flood our brain, it's really our prefrontal cortex that has to pay for it, because the hormones can impact the way that we make decisions and our ability to have executive functioning and judgment and all of those things. So it is an automatic response, and it's not something you had any control over.
So are you saying that it's in the realm of flight, fright, freeze?
Absolutely. So when we fight, fight, flee, or freeze,
it would be freeze. I never even got
that. And that's a result of the hormones, and it's a well-documented phenomenon that many people in severely stressful environments experience. So when we work together, we're going to work to normalize these sorts of feelings. And I'm sorry that you felt like you've been labeled like a loser, because that's, something we're going to work on together.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, and so Juanita, we've talked a bit about the goal of not experiencing these thoughts and feelings, but I want to know from you, what are your thoughts about how we can work towards that goal?
What's been working for me so far has been slowing things down.
Mm-hmm.
And then breaking that moment of freezing apart into different pieces so that I understand what informed the freeze, what made the freeze happen.
Okay.
And to then explore like my judgments around that. Now, that's speaking because I have years of experience in therapy, and then I've been in weekly therapy since August last year. I swear to God, beginning of August this year. I deserve a prize. And so I'm aware it's not necessarily what a normal client would say, but and it's a part of why I'm not liking the freeze is, for me, when I had the divorce and then was triggered by Summer Institute, and I literally fell apart. Freezing was a big part of that, and I felt very frozen in trauma. And so I've put such committed effort into coming back to life, coming back to breath, and coming back to movement, that to freeze over coffee and date it feels like I got what's that word? It's a retro, like I got thrown back in time.
Okay.
I regressed, and I thought, no. And then to be judgmental, I was like, oh, please no. I've worked so hard to be at this place where I'm better. I'm recovered from the trauma, right? So I see the freezing as a little tiny red flag, and then, judgment, the red flag grows. So for me, slowing it down and breaking it apart and then looking at judgments, it is incredibly empowering, and kind of how I got to here, so I'm doing better.
Okay.
That would be okay with you. That would be very helpful.
That is definitely okay. And again, this is kind of a collaborative process. And so we're really going to work together to figure out what's going to work best for you. And so what I'm hearing, Juanita, is that you really do well if you can slow down and really process the meaning behind things and about why you're experiencing these physical symptoms. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
very much.
All right. And so you mentioned that you are coping well now
Yeah,
with the divorce.
yeah.
Okay. Now, what I'm wondering about are the coping skills that you've used to get yourself to where you are today, like you mentioned. Are you talking about the slowing down and the, understanding the reason behind things, or are there other skills that have helped you to get to where you are now?
Yeah, there would be other skills. Slowing down is the beginning.
Okay.
Um, and I love that you use the word meaning, like making meaning of it, because that for me has been pivotal.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Breaking it down into smaller pieces. And if we stay with Genevieve and coffee, it would, boy, how would I do that? I understand it. I'm not sure how to visualize. I actually can feel the process in my body. So as
Mm-hmm.
I think, so I move the video forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, until I hit the point where I think, and now I'm done. I can't do anymore.
Oh,
That's how I've been doing. That's how I've been doing the divorce. That's also how I'm trying to be. But I feel kind of actually frozen with the coffee, and it could
okay.
be that I'm just psychologically tired of processing the divorce to heal through the day he informed about the divorce and all of the reasons why is he's an annihilator and he wanted to destroy everything in me. Well, I'm a yes ma'am. I'm a live life, right? I am a freak flag of Mardi Gras joy. I love living. Well, at which point, what is my goal? My goal is to continue forward, and I'm using Genevieve and her coffee to help me move forward because my ultimate goal is I'm going for coffee with someone. And I don't care if I want him or not for a partner. I'm going for coffee because it's my way of saying yes, ma'am, to myself, yes to life. This is incredibly important to me that the annihilator not destroy me and my future life. So even though it was, and this is what I got from talking to you so far, even though it's just coffee and a daughter, the meaning underneath of it is just so much bigger. And it's me giving myself permission to be fully alive. I say, yes, ma'am, fully alive. I'm going to have it tattooed on my forehead, and he won't go to coffee with me because he'll go, you do really weird tattoos.
Oh, well, Juanita, it sounds like we've got a few goals that we have the chance to kind of work at. Um, do you think it's fair to say that, you know, of course, we have the goal of responding in a way that is supportive of your daughter about potential romantic relationships, but it also sounds like we've got another goal of you feeling comfortable having coffee with someone someday. Is that a reasonable goal?
That's, yes, I really do believe it is.
Okay.
Do believe it is. And it's a desired goal.
Okay. And it's a desired goal.
Not for today, but maybe a year from now.
Yeah, maybe a year from now. And that's something we can talk about as our sessions progress
Awesome.
and talk about some more practical ways to move towards those goals.
I
Now,
love that.
yeah, okay. What are your thoughts about that?
My thoughts, because I feel feelings, thoughts. I really appreciate your logic that as an emotional and highly feeling woman, the emotions can really take over. And I like watching your face and I like how you phrase your questions because my sense in this being collaborative is okay, so I can have feelings and intuitions, and you're very rooted and grounded in logic. That actually creates safety for me, like a seatbelt in a roller coaster.
Oh,